Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm back again. Two episodes in a row? That's crazy. I made it back, though. Hello, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Nick. Tim's hanging out with me today. We've got some fun stuff to talk
What's
about.
up?
How you doing, man?
Good.
How you
Long
been since
weekend.
last week?
Huh?
How you been since last week?
Tired. Long weekend.
I feel you. I almost died 2 days ago.
What?
So, if you guys see me like moving around a lot, or if I cough and then I start wincing in pain, I went skating the other day and I tried to do a trick called a boneless, which
Lord.
is basically a move where you step off of the board, your back foot stays on, with that front foot on the ground, you jump in the air. While you're in the air, you put your foot back down on the board, you land down, you sail off into the distance looking cool as shit. Except what I did was when I jumped in the air, I lost control of the board. So I'm in the air like this, flat back, about 10 feet in the air. And then I fell directly on my spine. I took like a flat back wrestling bump onto concrete from about 10 feet in the air.
Hey, you're Nick Gage and John Moxley.
Yeah! Man, I took that fall, stood up, and I went, oh, I'm good, let's go. My buddy was like, hold on, bro, like, sit down for a minute. That was a very bad fall. And I sat there for a minute, and the longer I sat there, the more, like, the pain went from my back to my ribs to my entire chest, and I couldn't breathe. And so, like, the process of breathing, coughing, sneezing, and eating now is all, like, it's all manual. It's not like I could just do it without thinking. I have to, like, navigate it. And the only way I can cough is by lifting up my arm, turning to the right. Yeah, because if my arm's down, it's right here. It just feels like I'm being stabbed. So I lift it up to get it stretched, turn a little bit to the right so it's not directly hitting my side, and then I can cough. But dude, for like the last 2 days, I can't move. Yeah, I just feel terrible. I don't have any bruising, like on my body, but I'm pretty sure I've got some bruised ribs and my back is real fucked up again.
Jesus Christ. You sound like my daughter.
Dude, I am. Oh my god.
So for Christmas, my parents bought them electric scooters because my mom got a deal at her work. She works for Lowe's.
That rules.
Lowe's
That's a cool gift.
Well, Lowe's has the Cobalt brand. And so they took their Cobalt. So they made an electric scooter that runs off their Cobalt drill batteries. These things go like 15, 20 miles an hour.
And they give it to a kid?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And so apparently my kids, they went over to their grandparents' house over on Friday after school. And my mom texts me and goes, no, she calls me and she goes, so Haley broke her glasses because she fell off her scooter.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, oh, okay, we'll have to go get her new glasses or whatever. And then my ex calls me last night and she goes, just to let you know, Haley's got a pretty nice black eye from falling off that scooter.
Oh.
She's like, the swelling's gone down and it doesn't bother her anymore, but I was like, oh, damn.
Still have a shiner for a couple of days. That sucks.
Yep.
Yeah, no. If you guys like skateboarding, don't fall. And if you go skating, please wear a helmet.
I mean, how do you think I was in a cast for 6 weeks in high school? I was an idiot and tried to do an ollie off of concrete into dirt. But the dirt didn't come into play. What happened was I did the ollie wrong off the so here's why I had to say it like that. Because I was going from basically jumping the dirt and the concrete were not level. There was like the concrete was up about 6 to 7 inches. So I was thinking I'm going to ollie off this 6-7 inches into the dirt. Well, the board kept going. My body just froze in air. My leg twisted and pop my knee right into the concrete. Tore my meniscus, unfortunately. Fortunately, it was good enough to where I didn't need surgery, but I was in a cast for 6 weeks. And because I grew up in the mountains and my school was on multiple different hills, I couldn't go to school on crutches because everything was gravel and hills, and I was late to class every time. So they're like, yeah, you're going to stay home, and we'll send a lady to bring you your work every day.
That's fucking insane.
No, me and my brother fucked ourselves up on skateboards and not even doing like normal skateboard stuff.
Yeah, I've fallen off of my board plenty of times and I've been like messed up, but like I've never had anything this bad. And I assume it's just because I fell from like I'm a large man. I'm a I'm a hefty boy. And luckily, like I was wearing this hoodie. And it's like a thick hoodie. So when I fell, it was like I had some cushion and I had a hat on. So it's like at least the back of my skull didn't like slap the pavement as well. And I didn't get CTE.
Okay. One last story. Have you ever used your skateboard like a luge board before?
Where you sit on it?
Where you lay down on it and you just go down the hill?
I lay on my back, not my front.
Well, yeah.
I never lay on my stomach.
Of course you lay on your back. Well, so growing up, our driveway was like this steep.
Oh,
that.
No.
And it went from skinny, your car can fit down to it, and then it widened out to like 4 cars can fit. So when our parents weren't home, the only thing left in the driveway was a boat. So we would avoid the boat, but we'd set the trash cans up like bowling pins. And we'd go down the driveway and see who could knock over the most.
The trash can.
Or we would both go down at the same time and race. And one time we were racing down and I won. My brother hit a rock. His board stopped, but he didn't. Going down the concrete driveway. Bruised and scabbed up his tailbone because he slid about at least a foot to a foot and a half.
Did it look like the comedy style, like as if he was still on the board perfectly going?
I don't know because I was at least like 2 feet ahead of him when it happened because again we were racing down. He stops or his board stops because he hit a rock and I kept going down.
Mm-hmm. That's the shitty thing is when you're skating with someone else or you're doing
you
like
miss their beef.
Shit. Yeah, because my friend turns around and all he sees is my ass laid out on the ground going ah.
Exactly.
Man, for those of you that are still here for this wrestling podcast, what's up? We do actually have some wrestling stuff to talk about today. A lot of fun stuff, actually. I touched last week on how I've been watching a bunch of stuff from Japan, and we're going to get into that at the end of the show. We're actually going to send something your guys' way to watch. That'll be fun. But to start it off, I kind of wanted to talk to you a little bit, Tim, about our favorite wrestlers, because I feel like, for me, no one here really knows who I am, and if they do, they know me from like 2 or 3 years ago. Since then, I watched a lot of new shit, so I'd love to maybe get like an updated 2021. Like, it doesn't even have to be like your favorite. It could be favorite to watch, someone you have always liked that even if you don't keep in touch with their matches, you still kind of like watch the marquee things or you're watching highlights. And it's a good way for the audience at home to kind of know what we like. And I'd like to know as well, like audience at home, people listening, who are your guys' favorite wrestlers? Because I can guarantee you, no matter who you are, in that comment section or in this video, you might hear about a new wrestler you've never known about.
Or you'll think, I like this wrestler that many others don't. And then you'll go, oh, whoa, there are other people that like the same guy.
That's very true. That's a very eye-opening thing. There's a bunch of dogs barking in my backyard now. I'm sorry.
It's fine. My phone just went off with the Daniel Bryan ringtone.
Oh man, this rules.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna
pitch it to you. We'll start it off with growing up. Who was your favorite?
Ooh, growing up, I'll tell you, my favorite wrestler to like that I just like. Oh my god, I'm a kid. Like I love watching wrestling. I love this guy. Holy shit, my fucking camera's down a little bit. I love this guy. I just looked at the hard cam right here. It was Jeff Hardy. Nice. I loved everything about Jeff Hardy. I loved the face paint, the fucking tattoos. He had like nail polish on that was bright colors, and like that shit ruled.
You remember when Jeff Hardy would draw fake tattoos on himself before he got real tattoos?
Yeah, that rules. And like Jeff Hardy was so cool, and he did all the crazy high flying, like you would die if you tried it type stuff, which made you go like, ooh, this guy's cool, especially for a young kid. And then he went to TNA, and then that's how I found TNA. So Jeff Hardy is one of my favorite wrestlers, and is like the reason I found anything outside of WWE as a child.
Nice,
that's pretty,
nice.
That's pretty neat. What about you? Because you're older than me.
Yeah.
So I'm 22. You're like what, 86 or some shit like that?
Hey now, 32. So
you're 10 years older than me.
So I can say for sure it was the Hardys that got me into wrestling. I won't say that Jeff Hardy or Matt Hardy were like my favorites, but I do remember, and I've told this story before, first time I ever watched wrestling, the new kid moves in across the street and goes, "Hey, you want to come over and watch wrestling?" I'm like, "Huh?" And I knew what it was because my grandfather watched it, but we only visited them a couple times a year, and so I'd see it sparingly, not paying attention. And so he's like, "Come over, watch it," but it's Monday Night Raw. And the first match I remember watching, I believe it was the Hardys versus the Acolytes. And I saw the Hardys and go, what channel is this on? And how do I watch it every week? But as a kid, of course, my favorite, Stone Cold Steve Austin. But that didn't last long because, and some people may laugh at this, I ended up transitioning pretty quickly from liking Stone Cold Steve Austin to, as soon as he retired, my favorite was Randy Orton. I go from Stone Cold, Randy Orton, and just loving everything Randy Orton did, thinking he was the guy in wrestling as a 14-year-old kid.
Hey, man.
14-year-olds, no. Hold on. Try to do the math here. So that would have been 2003, 2004 when so right around the Evolution time, I really started liking Randy Orton. I would have been 13, 14, yeah.
Damn, dude. You know how old I was in 2004? I was 5.
5?
I was 5 years old. I was still pissing and shitting myself. No, yeah, I think Randy Orton's the kind of guy that, like, I think he'll be a kid's favorite wrestler until he retires, no matter how old that kid is. Like, you could ask someone that's your age, fucking 36, I'm sorry, I'm thinking of the Young Bucks, 32, or you can ask someone that's me that was like, in Randy Orton's prime, I was like 10, 11, maybe a little bit younger, maybe like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, when he really started to like become like asshole piece of shit Randy Orton that the kids hated. Yeah. And then the kids grew up and they were like, oh, it's fake and he's just a good actor. No wonder I liked him so much. Not fake, but scripted. And I genuinely do think Randy Orton will be considered like everybody's like not favorite, but just like, yeah, when I think wrestling, I think guys like Randy Orton, especially like people my age, my generation see stuff like that. So at what point when in wrestling watching it, did you really like, okay, like I like wrestling, I'm a big wrestling fan. At what age, and then who was your favorite at? Well, who did you like enjoy watching?
So, like I said, I went to the new kid's house. That was 1998, I believe it was, and I literally haven't stopped watching since.
Jesus, that rules.
I literally don't remember a time before that or after. We'll see. I don't remember much before that, whatever, but I don't remember a time after that I wasn't watching some sort of wrestling, whether that was WWE or when Christian moved to TNA and I started watching the fuck out of TNA. But even before that, because I found TNA. So TNA, when they started, they were doing their weekly stuff on pay-per-view that didn't really pan out. But a local channel here in Fresno on Saturday nights at like 11 p.m., I randomly found a TNA weekly show recap with Mike Tenay and Jeremy Borash.
That sounds awesome.
And it was basically Explosion, where there would be like a new match, and then they talk about what happened on the weekly show. It was something along those lines. And then afterwards, I don't know how we got this here in California, but it was NWA Wildside, where AJ Styles really started cutting his teeth.
Yeah, AJ Styles killed.
And so that's how I found TNA. Like that was like 2002. And from then on, I just fell in love. And then, like you said, Jeff Hardy moved over to TNA, and that's when TNA got off of weekly pay-per-view and started running on a Fox Sports Net. And so that same neighbor kid, I got him on TNA, and he was kind of weaning off of wrestling by then, and I kept wanting to see more and more. And I'm like, yo, your favorite wrestler, Jeff Hardy, he's in a new company, and it's on this thing. I recorded it for you. Here's the tape.
That rules. What a friend. What a good friend.
And that was
Didn't even have, it's already recorded. Fucking to watch it.
Right? I don't even remember what the match was. It may have been like it was either a Jeff Hardy, Jeff Jarrett match or a Jeff Hardy Rhino match or something.
Could you imagine if you found that tape today?
There would be no way to find it.
Well, I know that, but just imagine like seeing that tape and being like, "Whoa!"
You know what the funniest part was?
Go ahead.
Back in the day, I used to take movies that I never watched anymore, and you put a piece of tape over the little tab hole, and then you can record over them and turn them into recordable VHSs. You can turn any movie into a recordable VHS. So I, at times, would take movies that I'm like, I don't like this movie anymore, and record over it with wrestling.
That rule. That is the only way to live.
Because when you buy a blank VHS, there's a square on it that's got a tab, and that means you can record on it. Once you pull the tab, you can no longer record over it unless you cover that tab hole back up. And so I would take old movies like, I think I had like the movie Benji the Dog or whatever my grandma gave us because she worked at Target and got a bunch of movies for free. And I'm like, I watched this movie once ago, it was all right. I'll use it as a blank.
There you go. I feel fortunate that in 2014, I just like stopped watching professional wrestling in every way. Like I didn't watch Raw, didn't watch SmackDown, did not keep up with any pay-per-views, didn't care about Impact. I had no idea what New Japan, what fucking All Japan, Noah. I didn't know what Ring of Honor was. I had no idea of independence.
You mean 2020?
Yeah,
early parts of 2020.
Yeah. I for the longest I just stopped watching because I could not take WWE programming anymore. It was like I wanted to watch wrestling that matured as I grew. So it's like, yeah, I'm 10 years old. I like watching face paint Jeff Hardy jump through shit. I'm a little bit older. I kind of want to see some like.
So now that I know, you weren't into the high Dolph Ziggler, Alberto Del Rio stuff. That was 2014 era.
I'll tell you this,
world champion Del Rio running shit.
I think I officially tuned out between the years of 2011 and 2014 is when I officially just said, I don't fucking construction outside. I don't like wrestling. Like I'm not a wrestling fan anymore. Which sucked. Damn, I'm in like pixel hell all of a sudden, huh?
It'll be fine. It'll fix itself. Cool. So you missed basically all of CM Punk's best stuff in WWE.
Here's the thing. I might have missed his best stuff, but I sure did avoid all of like the mid 2010s WWE, which was just awful. Do you want to take like a cut real quick
fine.
And like
just reset your camera real fast?
I can leave the yeah.
Just reset your camera real fast. We're gonna fix things in 1 second, folks. And we're back.
Is that better?
That's way better.
Awesome. So yeah, I tuned out for like 4 straight years.
Right.
And then I got back into it at the Mania that was here in Santa Clara.
So 2015.
2015. Because I saw it was just on the TV at the someone's house I was hanging out with, and I was like, oh shit, wrestling. I was like, who the fuck is
Hold on, you're gonna tell me that you got back into wrestling peak Roman Reigns getting his big push start? It's Roman Reigns that did it for you.
Yeah, hey.
Roman and Brock.
To be fair, to the person that like I actually sat and I was like, what the fuck is this hokey bullshit? It was the fucking Bray Taker match.
You know Bray went into that match with a broken ankle, right?
I do now. I didn't at the time.
Yeah, they were practicing before the show, and I don't know if it was completely broken or twisted or something, but Bray had a fucked up ankle.
I remember watching that match and going, yo, this Bray Wyatt dude is the silliest bullshit I have ever seen. What is this? Went home, looked it up. I watched a bunch of FCW promos and said, oh, this guy fucking rules. And so I was slowly starting to wean back into like watching it. And then the YouTube algorithm saved my life. Because I was just looking up like Bray Wyatt highlights. And like I'm watching this stuff. I'm watching him have these matches, but he's having matches with guys that like, what the fuck is NXT? Like, I don't know what the fuck this is.
Right.
And so like all these former independent names that I'm now Googling and being like, this dude used to wrestle for Ring of Honor in 2002. Okay, let me look this up. And all of a sudden I'm looking up Ring of Honor 2002. And like, I'm just all of a sudden like, a fucking Pandora's box. The forbidden door opened for my life.
Oh Lord,
Tony Khan. And like,
no, Bray Wyatt's your Tony Khan.
Yeah, Bray Wyatt's my Tony Khan.
He opened your forbidden door.
That sounds odd. Oh, Bray. Oh, Bray, come open my forbidden door. Oh, God. Fucking. So I started finding a whole bunch of wrestlers. So I went from like really liking Bray Wyatt as a wrestler and then being like, oh, cool, this WWE stuff is still bullshit. I'm not going to watch, but I'll watch the funny stuff and the cool stuff. And then all of a sudden, I just found everything right with the world. I found an El Generico match.
Oh, Lord. Which one?
It was El Generico and Kevin Steen from Final Battle.
Ooh.
Their final match at Ring of Honor. That big ladder match where he package pile drive Kevin package pile drive Sammy on a ladder. So there's a ladder here, there's a ladder there, and then there's a ladder in between that, and then underneath that ladder is another ladder.
Yep.
Cool. Mind you, I don't think these are gimmick ladders. These are literally ladders that I think they went to Lowe's and picked up that day. They're like Weber. Yeah, they're like Weber ladders. Which this isn't the match that we were going to tell you guys to watch later, but if you haven't seen this match, I'm sure it's free on Ring of Honor's YouTube. Really check this match out. It rules ass. And I saw that and I was like, whoa. Hey, remember when you were like, gotta make sure I don't have any misclicks?
No, I was opening up a Chrome browser to see if I can find that match.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that match is a lot of fun, and then it kind of opened up the world of like, oh, you know what? Like I should kind of make it a point to maybe check out some of these other promotions and other stuff that's around. And I mean, fast forward into 2021 and I'm watching deathmatch wrestling that's not even in a ring. It's at like a bar, just on the floor of the bar. Like I'm watching guys like some of my favorite deathmatch guys like Nick Gage and Jimmy Lloyd and Casanova Valentine and
damn
Slack, like all these fucking badass guys. And they like all of a sudden I'm watching this shit. It's out of nowhere, and I'm just it's so awesome.
Was this really only like a 10-minute match?
I don't think it was a 10-minute match.
Because Ring of Honor's like a 9-minute something second version of it on their Twitter.
I think that's like a fucking.
It's got to be an edited version.
Yeah. But yeah, never
mind.
Now,
so Ring of Honor has two versions. Sorry to cut you off. Ring of Honor does have two versions of this match. One that's 9 minutes and 28 seconds. The other is 33 minutes and 15 seconds. The match itself. Oh, and then they also have the Kevin Steen El Generico Last Man Standing match. That's another 23-minute match.
That's a good match. Man, we're gonna have a linked up at the end of this podcast, aren't we?
We'll put the Ladder War match link in the description for sure.
Yeah, we'll put that in the description, and then we got some other stuff to talk about at the end for stuff that we're going to link in the description. But I want to talk about, like, before we move on topics here, right now in professional wrestling, because you and I have worked, we have worked for New Japan. Like, we have worked as media for New Japan not for, but with same thing. And we've talked to wrestlers, and we've kind of been around here for a while. So is there anyone now, maybe like someone within the independents or someone like, you know, that isn't in like a major huge promotion like WWE, AEW, that you kind of been having your eyes on? Because I've got a couple. Like I want to talk about some of the deathmatch guys, and then
that's an interesting one because so many guys and girls have been hired by either AEW or WWE within the last year and stuff.
I mean, yeah, that's extremely true.
But I mean,
you're exactly right. Like Chris Statlander was one of my favorites, and then she got, you know, she was
2019 when he came back in the G1. Lance Archer was somebody that was like, "Oh, this guy's getting used well." Like that match he had with Kenta in the G1. I think that was the Dallas match, I believe.
Another one of my favorites.
But
Kenta rules.
Archer got signed up by AEW. I'm trying to think if there's anybody that didn't get picked up that I was liking before.
Yeah, I mean, I think on it. One of the guys that I love, down in GCW, I talk about him all the time, and I got him hanging up on my wall right here. It's motherfucking Nick Gage. Like Nick Gage is just one of my favorite wrestlers and people on earth. He's just such like he's one of the few wrestlers that I think you can look at and just go, yeah, this is a guy that wrestles. Like, this is just like, you can clearly see that there's no frills, there's no character. There's just a dude named Nick Gage who, I believe this is a direct quote, smoke some weed, have sex, and wrestle. I'm like, that's his life. And it's like, yeah, that guy lives it.
And this guy's life's so interesting. He's getting a documentary, Dark Side of the Ring.
The dude got arrested for robbing a bank. So in the lead up to his return match at Joey Janela's spring break or RSP break, the kind of like cinematic thing that they shot to kind of promote the match was RSP reenacting the robbery that got him arrested, except they get away. Yeah,
I never saw that.
They get away with it. I'll send it to you later. We'll link it down here because it's so fucking funny. And like you see the outfit that Nick Gage was wearing, and it turns around and it's RSP, and he just winks at the camera and walks out of the building.
He wasn't even trying to make it seem like it wasn't him. So it's not like in Dark Side of the Ring when they get a wrestler that looks like a different wrestler to like play the silhouette of them, or like when they got Tyson T-Bone to be Chris Benoit.
I'm a big fan of the generic white blonde guy that they found, and they just threw Mox on the back of his underwear and said, "You're John Moxley." Yeah, no, he's one of my favorite deathmatch wrestlers, and if you're interested in deathmatch wrestling and think it's something you want to check out and experience, it's a lot and it can be gruesome.
Right.
But check out Nick Gage. He's on the guy in front of me right now on my wall, and also check out the guy behind me, Schlack. He's cool. You know what that skateboard says? It says "No God, only Schlack."
Jesus.
That's the coolest thing I've ever heard. So yeah, those all the people that I've talked about, those are my favorite like wrestlers. And I highly suggest that you guys check them out because professional wrestling is so much more than just not generic, but just like mat-based bullshit. You know what I mean? It's like wrestling doesn't have to just be in a ring.
Wrestling doesn't have to be the same pattern stuff that we see every week from AEW, WWE, Impact, and all that.
Not even. Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, it just does not have to be what we've seen. Like that's a great thing that I loved about like Bloodsport and a lot of these deathmatch shows that are running like with no rings. It's just that fucking realness and shit. It's cool, man. I think it's awesome.
Well, that was like rules. Now I'm blanking. I know we did like a small watch along with it. Who did the 24-hour show again?
GCW.
That's what I thought. That was cool because
it was a lot of promotions that came together to collectively build something.
But that was cool because it wasn't just like, oh, we're gonna get a bunch of indie matches. It was a different types of matches throughout the 24 hours.
Yeah, and they had like different blocks. Like, man, they had just a ton of great blocks. Like for the culture block, they had a death match block.
Right.
They had I don't remember if they had real hot girl shit or if that was a collective exclusive. But I think
that was the collective, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, but I'm sure a lot of the women.
I know they did have one block hour that was set for just female stuff. I remember that.
That might have been that. And then I think they also had a block dedicated to LGBTQ wrestlers, which is fantastic. Watch Effie. Go fucking follow Effie on Twitter and watch his
Apparently Effie's in a new movie.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
There's like this movie coming. I forget who the wrestler is that's making the movie, but oh man, now I can't remember who he is. But I think it's Dirty Rob, maybe. But he's making this movie where like he's working fast food or something, and then he gets like, Effie's his mentor or whatever, and gets him into wrestling. And apparently, I don't know. It sounds cool.
It does, and the cool thing about Effie is that he's all character and a great wrestler. So it's like he's just great with his character work and kind of like acting and cutting and talking, and then he gets into the ring, and you're like, whoa. This dude has it all. This dude's good. And he has a cool mustache that I aspire to have. I like Effie. Before we start to kind of wind down here, last week, guys, at my first show back, I kind of talked to you guys, and I talked to Tim about how much I've been loving old school Japanese wrestling. You know, Pro Wrestling Noah, All Japan from like 96 to like 02, all that kind of good stuff. I've just been absolutely loving. So I wanted to have the opportunity to continue to watch the stuff that I love, but still have you guys watch it too and have it be kind of a collective conversation. So last night I got a little drunk. I was enjoying a wee bit of White Claw, and I found something out. I found out that the Undertaker worked Japan not as like Mean Mark Calloway or what was the other one? The Punisher. Yeah, not as Punisher, but as the Undertaker in like 97, 96. So there's a few things that I would like you guys to do, which would be awesome. There is a match between the Great Muta, and I'm already going to mispronounce Jinsei Shinzaki's name, and if I didn't mispronounce it, I'm God. But there's a match between those two gentlemen on New Japan World. I believe it's $9.99 a month, and you can translate the website to English as well to make it easier to navigate. We're going to put the link for this match down below. Check this match out, because in this match, it's pretty interesting. What happens? And I would like you guys to check that out. I think that'd be a lot of fun. And then after that, we're going to have a fun match that shows kind of why the Undertaker showed up. Which, when I told Tim why, I had a fucking mind-boggling experience. A man
There's
died.
a Japanese version of the Undertaker.
Yeah, like he's just Japanese And I mean, how about this? I'll tell you guys, let's talk a little bit about the Muta match.
Yeah.
And you guys can watch it if you want, because it is behind a paywall. And so I don't want to expect you guys to have to pay to only watch that match. But to kind of summarize this match was kind of shit on collectively. The fans didn't really like it. One of those matches that went way too long with way too much selling.
It was the New Japan January 4th show 96, I want to say.
Yeah, it was Battle Formation 1996.
Yeah.
It's really well known for Jinsei fucking blading himself real hard, but like too much, like Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah,
too much. So his character in this match was killed by the Great Muta. He died. So
he didn't clean those tights.
So with a dead man, the man is now dead. In comes WWF superstar The Undertaker in
Michinoku
the year...
Not New Japan. Michinoku Pro.
Not New Japan. That's big. It's Michinoku Pro. And it's interesting. So they have this match, and we're going to link this match because this match is on YouTube. So we'll talk a little bit about it, but I want you guys to watch it.
We'll do like a big actual review of the match next week. Yeah. But we want to give you guys time to watch it so you know what we're actually talking about next week, the Undertaker match.
So we'll put that in the description below. So check that match out. You kind of know the context going into it. Two dead guys facing each other.
One has a pallbearer, one got brought out by pallbearers.
Yeah, I was gonna say one got brought out by pallbearers, one literally has pallbearer. No. Is that Paul Bearer or is that Bruce Pritchard?
Is his face? No, is he wearing black?
I believe it might not have been. There was a Japan set where he did
at
not
that time. It would have been Bruce Pritchard. Or at that time, it would have been Paul Bearer.
Okay, there was a point where he had Bruce Pritchard instead. Yeah, that was something I read last night. But yeah, please check that match out. It's on YouTube. You can watch it for free. Get yourself a nice little beverage. Get yourself a nice little meal. Plop down. Check that match out. It's absolutely fantastic. And next week...
So the Paul Bearer one you were thinking was from 90... Or the Bruce Pritchard one you were thinking? 92, I believe.
Got it.
Not still this match in like 97 or whatever. Huh?
Still working as the Undertaker.
That's right when he started, right around the time of the Undertaker.
Mm-hmm. So
that was no sleeve tattoo taker.
Weird. We'll link it in the description. And next week on the next episode of the PWUnlimited Podcast, we're going to talk about it. The Muta match is optional. You don't have to watch it if you don't want to. It's just fun. So you
it gives a little more context onto why these characters were brought together-ish. Because in the Muta match, which, I mean, kind of. Because in the Muta match, they don't say he dies in the match. But that's the match where he considers himself dying.
Yeah, and it's really fantastic, and you'll see. I mean, hopefully you'll be able to see the similarities between his loss against Muta and how it ends versus how the match with Taker begins. It's absolutely fantastic. With that being said, guys, enjoy that match because it's fun. For me, what I'm gonna enjoy doing is saying goodbye. Thank you guys so much for listening. My name is Nick. You can follow me on Twitter at ArmWeek21. You can also follow us on Twitter at PWUnlimited, of course. Tim has a Twitter, but I'm going to keep talking, so he's unable to plug his own social media on his YouTube channel. I'm fucking kidding. Go ahead, Tim. Where can they find you?
You can find me basically anywhere at Timmy Buddy, whether that's on Twitter or on Twitch. So with that, guys, remember to follow us right here, YouTube. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. And follow us on Patreon, patreon.com/PWUnlimited.
See you later, guys. Thank you. Oh, God, my arm's so tired.